What's up? What's up, New Gaming Order fans? This is your co-CEO, co-producer Alex Lexus coming at you with, as promised, the Street Fighter V Wishlist podcast. Now, this idea was Blankman Jr.'s idea right here, Mr. Shin Jackman. And then, as promised, our special guest from Salty Gamers, or Mr. Salty Mofo, Michael Hurdle. If you want
Uh,
to, introduce yourself. They already know who you are, but, you got the floor for a minute.
my name is Michael Hurdle, and I play video games. I play Street Fighter a lot, more than I should admit. And I get mad. Sometimes I want to throw the arcade stick, but I'm so broke that I said I can't afford a new one. So I just put it down gently and just get really mad. And here we are.
Alrighty, going Super
Thank you so
Saiyan.
much.
So, New Gaming Order fans, and those of you who followed us from the new Mugen Order and Fighting Game League from Nelson, and you should know the voice behind the silhouette. We're still trying to get his camera up and running from Raw Gameplay, formerly of Raw Gameplay, one of the four founders. So, Michael Hurdle has a wealth of knowledge when it comes to fighting games, and it's an honor to have you on this special podcast. All right, so without further ado, let's get started. Now, the general premise of this, I wouldn't even call it a mini short. This is a special where, on the eve of all these new fighting games coming out, you know, what's next for Street Fighter? Okay, now Shinwar and I were discussing some interesting ideas as to, okay, you know what, let's have a wish list for things that we would like to see in the next incarnation of the Street Fighter story arc. Now, right now, let's set the time frame, okay? Street Fighter 4 is right in the smack in the middle of, what is that, Street Fighter 2 and Street Fighter 3. Capcom is jumping all over the place with the timeline. You know, in terms of the story and timeline, where should we go? All right, so I'm going to give Blankman, aka Shinwar, the floor first, and then our esteemed guest, Michael Hurdle, the floor. So, Shinwar, where should we go next?
Well, it's funny that you mentioned that, Alex Lexus.
What?
I'm real big on story, and I was asking myself when me and you had this discussion,
Mm-hmm.
where do we go to next? Obviously, I think we need to move past four. We all know Third Strike takes place 5 years after Street Fighter 4, so we need to go past Third Strike. I'm real big on the story. Um, I think we need to age some of the characters slightly, but I think with Capcom they keep their timeline continuous, not continuous, revolving. So it's
Mm-hmm.
like Sakura's been a teenage Japanese girl for like the longest since Alpha. Ibuki was in four, but her first appearance was in Third Strike. Her, Makoto, and Elena were teenagers then, but it's like, okay, 5 years prior they're in four, and I understand all that, but I think they should really age some of the characters. um Storyline wise, it's time to evolve, and that's one thing I like about SNK. And forgive me, my voice is kind of going, but like SNK games, their story, like with the King of Fighters and Fatal Fury, Samurai Showdown, it was a real in-depth story, and it's like, okay, so this happened in KOF 99 or 98, and now it's like when you look at KOF 13, it's like, where have these characters, where are they now?
Mm-hmm.
Are they still training? We look at Terry Bogard, just to get off topic, but we look at Terry Bogard and we see some of his new techniques that he has over the years. So it's like, with Street Fighter, and it's loved across the world. Everybody knows Street Fighter.
Yeah.
I think we need to move past Third Strike. And if you remember, Alex, remember that picture from a long time ago where the character Alex was
Mm-hmm.
standing over Balrog?
Yeah.
So we know that these characters have met. And I think in regards to the story, I think we need to evolve it more. Maybe there needs to be a new villain.
Mm.
And have Bison just fade to the shadow. And I love Bison,
Or have
as
him
a
ultimately defeated at some point, you know?
or have him ultimately defeated. It's funny. I actually had wrote a story moving past Third Strike, and it involved Gil and his resurrection technique. Um, what if somebody was able to, I guess, learn that technique, or uh, um, pull it out of Gil and see, and they were able to do just some funny stuff.
Hmm.
But I think there needs to be a new tournament, or not even do like I believe it was Alpha. Which one wasn't a tournament?
I
Alpha
think it was
One,
Alpha 1 or 2.
Two.
Hmm.
Actually, no, Alpha Two, because Alpha Two overrides Alpha One.
Yeah.
Maybe not be a tournament. So I just think storyline wise, and I think they should bring back everybody for like Street Fighter Five. Birdie, where's Birdie? Eagle, bring all these
Yeah,
people back.
yeah, that's right.
Let's bring
That's
them
right.
back. So
Hmm.
storyline, I just think we need to progress even more. Ken Masters, his son. I believe in Third Strike he was 5 years old, right? 5 years old. So just in the endings, it's got to be in more depth. That's one thing Capcom lacks, I
Mm.
believe, is the
Well,
story. It
Killer Instinct
lacks.
suffers from shallow endings as well. You know what I mean?
This is true.
So
And I think these companies can learn from NetherRealm Studios and Namco with Tekken and NetherRealm with Mortal Kombat. These stories are so in depth, and they're just taking it to another level. And I think Capcom needs to follow suit.
okay. Now, one thing I want to caveat on was the fact that with King of Fighters, each event in each game significantly affects the events going forward. You know what I mean? And
Yeah,
then you have games like, hey, a character will make reference to something that happened in KOF 99 or
right.
KOS 95. You know what I mean? That kind of stuff. They need to have a flow of continuity with that story. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And we know Capcom is very spotty with their canon. So, you know, giving Michael Hurdle some spotlight, what do you think should happen story wise in terms of Street Fighter Five? Like, what direction should they go in? Shinwar says, "Hey, let's go past Third Strike," right? So, I mean, should there be another interquel between Street Fighter Four and Street Fighter Three? You know what I mean? And if they go past Street Fighter Four or Street Fighter Three in the storyline, what will happen to the other characters like Necro, Oral, 12, Q, that kind of stuff? So, what are your thoughts, Mike?
You know what? Listening to Mr. Shinwar speak,
Shinwa.
Shinwar.
Shenhua.
Oh, yeah, I want to
Whoa.
hear more of what he has to say. He went in depth. Like you could be like a salesman.
Mm.
He did. I was like,
This
the
guy.
game really made you super. I said,
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
I cannot go up against this guy behind this wonderful mastery. I didn't even think about all that stuff, aging the characters. I didn't think about it. I'm not really. You see how you guys are really into the history of the Street Fighter. It's guys like you who actually give me the history of the Street Fighter because I'll be honest with you. I'm one of those guys who just push the button, pick that one character,
Mm-hmm.
look at the history, and just play with the character. When Akuma says, "I'm coming for you, boy," I have to be honest. I have no idea what he's talking about. He's talking about Ryu,
Mm-hmm.
but
mm,
and you see here, I'm missing the story because I'm just starved out to play the game. So
right.
to put my input into the story like that, like how Shinwar did, I can't really go into depth like that to be honest with you. And I think if I try, I'll try to embarrass myself. The hardcore Street Fighter guys, boy, they'll send me hate mail. So I don't know. I don't have any input when it comes to the characters and them growing because I don't really know the history. I didn't really look into it, and now that you guys pointed this out, it makes me say, wow, I'm really missing out on different parts of the game, and now I know why some people get really angry when certain things change because
Yeah,
they
true.
they follow the entire path, and they like, if this path you showed me this character took, and how come when this character's here now it doesn't match? And some people get very upset because, and I'm wondering, these guys don't even know what the hell they're talking about, but they follow the storyline. So it just gives me a good insight to say, wow, you know what? Let me check more into the storyline. I might look into Akuma because Corey asked me, have I played Third Strike? And I'll be honest with you, when I hear you guys talk about Third Strike and all that, I've never played any of those games.
Mm.
What?
Never. I never played Third Strike, so I don't know.
Shinwar's reaction is
Yeah,
too much.
exactly, right? It's like guys like
Oh
me who play the
wow.
game who don't even know the history like that. I know, and see, look at this disappointing. It's looking at he sat back and he looked at me. He's like he has that look like, man, you know what? I have a red cape and a green hat on, but this guy exactly. I have a camera that's following me that nobody else is in the room controlling it. Magic.
Wow.
Exactly. I don't know. I try to humor things.
But I would tell you this, Mike. You already know that Shinwar and I had the pleasure of meeting Joy Ansa and the crew from Street Fighter's Assassin's Fist, right?
Remember, you put
A,
pictures on Facebook.
a good start. I know, right? I was
I
happy.
was
I was like Ed Boon and I was cheesing. I was happy.
that's doing big things.
But I would say that's a good starting point. And Joey Ansa did a good job with, okay, if you didn't know, now you know. You know what I mean? And
Right.
he pretty much hit all the major story plots that are canon, and just fleshed it out, more backstory and things like that. Because believe it or not, with the Street Fighter story, just like anyone who's into Star Wars, Harry Potter, and all that, Street Fighter has an illustrious story behind it. It's not just hitting the buttons and all that good stuff. So I mean, if Capcom treats it right, and like Shinwar said, if they treat it like the story mode from the Mortal Kombat reboot, I mean, that would be great. Or Injustice, like set it up in such a way where you have a story mode, and of course you'll still have your arcade mode, but
Right.
Mhm.
just make it where, okay, tell a story. Like you don't have to make like an anime or something. Like do it in game. Do it in game, and I think that would be really awesome if they embarked on that. Shino, you had something?
I think also with that, with Vanilla Street Fighter and all its iterations, they had rivalries, and
Yes.
that was cool. That was cool. It set up, these interactions between certain characters. But to be honest, some of them didn't make sense. I don't know if you remember, Alex, when they were first doing the promos for Ultra and we saw the videos, they showed each person's rival.
Yeah.
In Blanca's, it was Balrog.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
When the game came out, it was Balrog and Chun Li, and I'm like, why they do that?
Mm.
But I understand for story. But going back to that, you were right, Joanne. Those guys definitely did a good job with fleshing out the origin story for Ken and Ryu and Goken and Akuma. Also, Udon Comics did a wonderful job,
Mm-hmm.
and they were supposed to release Street Fighter 3 comic, but it never came to fruition.
Yeah.
But I have all the comics, and when you look at it, you're like, you know what? Wow, it's just the way the characters interact. All the way back from Gin to Third Strike. We care about these characters, and
Yes,
and
absolutely.
like Michael Hurdle said, yeah, some people want to go and just play the game. Nothing wrong with that. But then you have the people that are in it for the story.
Yeah.
And so I just think Capcom really just needs to step it up,
Mm-hmm.
in giving us an in-depth story.
And you know what? It's interesting, and I'm glad I had Mike on the show because you see, it's different type of gamers that are immersed into Street Fighter. Those are for the story, and those just for the game. And I'm sure if they do a story mode that is, I wouldn't say like shoehorning the story into the audience's face, but kind of say, hey, this is why Akuma has different techniques. This is
Right.
why Akuma has like the flip throw because like Joey Anso was saying, you have Goken had different scrolls than Akuma, and so on and so forth. You know what I mean? Give
Mm-hmm.
like an origin as to why things are in Street Fighter,
Hmm.
and when you see that these things start to, you know, develop and like for instance Goken's palm, they gave a nod to that in Assassin's Fist when you see Goken actually doing the kata for it,
Right.
and then now you see it in Street Fighter 4. You know what I mean? That's some cool stuff that they put in there.
I
But
know. Also.
before we go into a different segment, I wanted to give LT Clockwork a shout out. Yeah, I see his comment about Street Fighter lacks a good story, and I think that the Assassin's Fist crew is now holding the fire to Capcom's feet to like, hey, make this canon, make this canon, you know. But
Mm-hmm.
now in terms of gameplay, you know,
Mm.
this is now the interesting stuff.
It
Where
will.
where does Street Fighter go from here? Now, my thing is obviously graphics are going to be a big part. Now, I would say like look at Killer Instinct, the 360 version that was
Yeah.
you know leaked with videos and all that. Take that and compare it to Killer Instinct that's on Xbox One. Looks the same, but it's just a lot going on, especially with the effects and so on and so forth. I mean, Capcom now has some serious competition from Arc Systems with Guilty Gear Xrd with cel shaded anime that looks like 2D drawings, but they're 3D. You know what I
Nice.
mean? So, I mean, Capcom has to do something because I was saying in back in the day or on another podcast, Capcom pretty much made the fighting game genre what it is today. You know what I mean? They're the godfather of the fighting game genre. So it would be only fitting that they would have like a flagship. Street Fighter remains the flagship game. Now, Nelson made a good point. You'll have Guilty Gear, you have Mortal Kombat, you'll have different options. But I would also say, like, hey, I would like it to still be like, hey, Street Fighter can't be fucked with. You know what I mean? So,
Mhm.
I mean, graphically, and then going into gameplay, like, where does Street Fighter go from this? Does it go take on the cell shaded? Does it stay 3D with newer elements? Like, Shinwar, what are your thoughts?
I'm actually waiting for my mic to reconnect. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you fine.
There we go. Gameplay wise, I would like to see rolling come back. If you're knocked on the ground, you should be able to roll to the left or to the right.
Or like
Right.
cross Tekken.
Um, well, cross Tekken you can only go forward, you
Forward,
couldn't go
okay.
back. I
Okay.
think going backwards was in Alpha Three.
Alpha 3, yes.
Alpha Three. I think they should bring back rolls, alpha counters. But I'm real big on alpha counters. That's fine if I need to use a meter or a bar, but the pressure that's in Street Fighter 4 and even Cross Tekken,
Mm-hmm.
I think it needs to have an alpha counter. Focusing, leave it in 4. Parrying, hey, leave it in 4. I mean 3.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think they need to bring back alpha counters. Um, if they decide to bring back ultras or whatever, let it be more cinematic.
Mm.
I think you and I had this discussion. If somebody does a super or an ultra, like the camera angle just needs to just flip and not be 2D, but let it be a full 3D.
Matter of fact, can
Um,
I jump in real quick?
go for it.
Shinwar and I, Mike, we had this discussion where I was having ideas. Let's say they bring back like ultras, right? And Ryu does the Metsu Shoryuken, right? Off the knockout, right? If you finish them, like Guilty Gear XR, no matter how you finish the character, like they have different angle shots to make it look more dramatic. So it'll be flash here, flash there, flash at a different angle. Or if you finish them with like a super, the camera will rotate around the actual point of impact. So imagine what Guilty Gear XR is displaying and add that element to a Street Fighter Ultra. You know what I mean? Rotate it around, bring it to life. Show that it's not just like simply on a 2D plane. Guilty Gear XR achieved it. So
Well,
yeah.
I think Ultra kind of was going that route. Well, Street Fighter 4, the Street Fighter 4 series.
Okay.
Like, for example, and right before we got on in the match that I had against Blanca, Blanca did his shot of the earth, and you see the full animations. And right before his hand hit, I did Balrog's Ultra 1. So the camera went like a 2.5D. So
Hmm.
it was looking like,
I
I
seen
don't
it
know, it's
before.
kind of crazy, but you're looking like this, and you just see Blanca eyes just pop out of his head. It was
Yeah.
crazy, and
Hmm.
Balrog goes in. Um, they talked about that for Killer Instinct too, but the developers were like, it would be too hard for like an Ultra
Hmm.
if the camera, would go behind them and go all these camera angles.
Hmm.
And the developer was saying, let's say if you do the cancel attack to do the final hit,
Hmm.
that it would be too much for the camera to go back facing the characters on a 2D plane.
Oh,
So
okay.
I think with Ultra, it definitely possible, and it reminds me of Dragon Ball. Like the Dragon Ball games, the 3D ones, like the
Hmm.
Tenkaichi series.
Yeah.
When you do like a special move or whatever, Goku's Kamehameha, or if he goes in for a Meteor Smash,
Yeah.
it's a full cinematic type of thing.
Yeah.
So I think it's possible. It should be done.
Okay, Mike. What are your thoughts? What new elements could they add to add some flair to Street Fighter Five? Because we know
Mm.
it's in development. But yeah. What are some ideas you can throw out there?
From my perspective of a guy who does not know the full history of most of the games where these characters came from, but from just looking at it and listening to what you guys are saying, I think those kind of elements can be done in the game, but it all depends on now what platform it's running on. I mean, this can't
Mm.
be for Xbox 360. This may have to be for like the PS4,
Yeah.
probably a Xbox One type of handling because I mean, to do these camera pans is really it's processor intensive, and it requires a lot of different frames to go into that. So, and then you have to run that, and then it all depends to me on the net code because when you're running that type of graphics
Mm.
online, You know, does it have a differential where it slows down someone else's where it's yours is running fine? I mean, how does the net code work for that? So that's the kind of questions that I would ask Capcom if they will be addressing. You know what I mean?
Oh, that you see, good insight there because we could want all this stuff, but if it's like realistically achievable, then hey, so be it. If not, then you know, some sacrifices have to be made. Good example. There's a game for Xbox original called Otogi 1 and 2, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, that game, they were saying, hey, they could have had it running at 60 frames, but the problem was you can destroy everything in sight. You know what I mean? Like, you could break up the stage like, it's nobody's business. So,
What
they had to be a trade off. Like, either you can break up a whole bunch of stuff.
the jug?
What happened?
Good. Yeah,
You,
you ain't seen man that jug of water?
I apologize. I thought I had this face on.
Now you good?
oh, I didn't even see that.
I'm sorry. I didn't want to interrupt. That's why I usually put the camera. Yeah, that's crazy, right?
Mhm.
It's going in. It's frozen.
You know what?
I apologize.
Maybe it's my Skype or something because, like, I didn't see the jug of water, but it's all good. Hey,
Okay. Sorry.
You
it's
good?
whatever,
You good?
man.
I'm just playing, man. You good?
Please
So,
continue your mastery.
but yeah, if it's whatever can realistically be achieved, and like Mike said, and Shinwar made this point when we were talking at work yesterday, like this might be have to be like a next gen thing only,
Yeah,
you know,
has to
and
be.
if that's the case, like I was saying, the 360 version of Killer Instinct, that beta, up until you see, like, when you compare the two, like, you can see what the Xbox One, and you can anticipate what the PS4 can do, like with Guilty Gear Xrd. Street Fighter can really look like nice, like, but here's my thing. I was talking to Shinwar, like, should Street Fighter go back to looking cartoony in terms of like the cell shading, like Guilty Gear Xrd, right? I'm thinking now, if anything, they should just keep that same engine from Street Fighter 4 and just make it look better.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Because if it ain't broke, don't fix it. You know what I
Right.
mean? And I'm thinking now, hey, destructible clothing. If you do like a certain type of ultra
Right.
that has fire involved, like, okay, Street Fighter
Mm.
the animated movie, Fei
That's
Long
nice.
hit him with the shin kick, right? Ryu's gloves burned off, and you actually saw the gloves, and he was actually fighting without them. They
That'd be
need to
nice.
start adding things like that.
That'd be nice.
You know what I mean? So Shinwar, I know you want to jump in, and Mike, I'll give
And,
you a second. Go
and
ahead.
I agree. Also, customizable accessories for the body. Like you know how Killer Instinct has like Conrad. He has the headpiece,
Uh-huh.
the chest piece. I'm talking about just really go in and hey, if Balrog wanted to watch, he can have a watch on him. You know what
Nice.
I'm saying?
I like.
Zangief should be able to wrestle with his cape. With his
I
cape.
like that. I
You
Or,
know
like
what
or,
I
that.
mean?
or knock
It,
the cape off or something. You know what I
or
mean?
knock the cape off, right?
Mm-hmm.
I just it's got to be something else with it. And also, you're right, Alex.
Mm-hmm.
With that Killer Instinct, the way it looks, Capcom better step it up, man.
Mm-hmm.
Cause them characters looking real smooth, and the backgrounds, they got to do better with the backgrounds. I'm
They
sorry.
have to. They have
Mm-hmm.
to.
Yeah.
Okay, Mike. You want to elaborate on the backgrounds?
No, I am definitely with him because I mean, you know what? I'm sick and tired of looking at the same old backgrounds. I no, I kid you not. When Ultra came out, I was kind of tight that they only got like a handful of backgrounds. I was like, what
Mm-hmm.
the hell? I thought I'm waiting for this extra stuff because I priced things from way back like 3 years ago up until now, and I
Mm-hmm.
probably spent $1,500 in Street Fighter profits and stuff like that. You know, buying the updates
Why
and the
he got that look on his face?
Oh, yo, that's a lot of money,
Yo,
yo.
I'm talking about because I got mad. I threw arcade sticks, and I found out an update came out, a whole bunch of stuff. So just give us some more backgrounds. I love the fact of the destructible clothes. You think about it is with the Street Fighter Five,
Mm-hmm.
it has to be different from Street Fighter Four. It
Yeah.
cannot just be Street Fighter 4.5 or something like that because I need it to look so different but still have the same feel. You know what I'm saying? Different. I
Right.
would love to see a shadow mode. I mean, I know I sound cheesy, but you know, in Tekken, when you play in the training room, they have a shadow mode. So let's just say Justin Wong or one of the top players was playing online,
Oh
and
yeah, yeah, yeah.
right, and you wanted to fight their shadow. You know what I mean? It'll have a nice algorithm set in place for it because it's going to be on the next gen console where you could actually fight the shadow of like a top player. So then you could keep practicing. I mean, it'll change the game because now the top players are going to have to step up their game because regular dudes could fight their shadow and just sometimes, download them.
Now you know, Mike. There's a game that does this, and that's Forza. You have your
Hmm.
drivatar.
Yes,
You,
that's
you
right.
know, so it's pretty much recording how you play, and the way you play, it sticks it on the cloud on the Xbox server,
Hmm.
and then even if you're not playing the game, you're playing. You know what I mean? It gets you points. It does whatever. You know what I'm saying? So that's interesting to record an algorithm and actually have it stored where, hey, I want to fight at this level. I think I'm ready. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know how many?
Mm.
Because I'm tired of seeing the same faces at Evo winning and
For
doing. You know what? Get new blood in there. And if Street Fighter does something like this, that would be sick. That's an ambitious undertaking. You know?
It can't be dominated by the few that are familiar faces. I love all of them because I see them all the time. I knew them well. I have pictures all over my Facebook with some of the top players.
Yeah.
I know you guys are good too, definitely, because you guys be battling with me and I know how to play the game too. And I like to see some regular dude that's not a part of no team that just came. It'll be I can sense it. It'll,
Now, and I agree with Mike Hurdle. Another thing with that is the combo system. Now, I like the links; it's cool, but it's gotta be lightened up a little bit. You
I
gotta have a
agree.
little bit
I,
more fun.
I I agree because
We went from chain combos back in the Versus series and the Alpha series to links being precise. So if I need this combo to come out, I have to practice jab, 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 crouching roundhouse to get a combo off. You see what I'm saying? Now
yeah.
the challenge mode was cool, but I may want to see the computer do it first in
Right.
order for me to
yeah,
mimic
like
it.
Dead or Alive.
Yes.
Dead or Alive used to, you could say, it would have the combo. Then you would
Right,
hit a button, or it's like, okay, show us the combo. Then you would see what it would look like. Like for
right,
instance, with Iron, you would hit like a high elbow, 1, 2, 3, and then wait as they float down, then hit. You know what I mean? But
right.
when they just tell you with
Yeah,
no
you're
hints,
like,
yeah, it just like what the heck.
So
I agree with that. I agree with that. Mike, you wanted to say something?
no, I agree. I 100% agree. I mean, there's a lot of things that the players would like to see. They like to see a lot of things added, taken away. I would love to go in a training room and, like you say, be able to see the computer do it first and show
right,
me. And then when I do it right, just give me like in Tekken, it just shows you you're doing it right. So you know you.
right.
That's how I learned how to play with King and Paul. I knew how to do all their combo strings because
Mm.
of that training room system. The training room system they have now was not really that good. And explain to me this because I'm a little confused when it comes to this. If I wanted to play someone online in a training room
Hmm.
right now in Ultra, I would have to go into a room in with that's training. Am I right? And wait for
Hmm.
somebody to come in. So
You could you could do it two ways. You can invite somebody privately, and you guys can train, or you can set up a room, and like it was a rank match or endless, and they join you.
mhm.
So, some people even do fight requests. So it's like they'll be sitting in a training room training, and then they'll end up in a rank match after. So yeah,
Okay, that's it pretty much.
yeah.
All right. Oh, and then just a quick note to those of you who are watching the podcast live. There was a little technical difficulty, so it's gonna be broken up into two parts because it lost sync. But now you can actually see Shinwar and Mike again instead of just still pictures. So yeah, pardon that. I'll make sure that it's edited and done right. What the heck? The Dark Shinwar. All right, but
I play. I'll get serious, sir.
but
Oh my gosh.
jumping back into it, I know that Shinwar made a very good point. Capcom is trying this whole campaign to appeal to casual players, but Street Fighter 4 has some very strict combos. But we can't complain because King of Fighters is even
Yeah.
worse when it comes to that. And then even with that, like you got some ultras. Let's say you had ultras in King of Fighters, right? A jab can snuff it out. You know what I mean? And your combos had to be spot on. Like Bala when they were doing the King of Fighters when he had Takuma and he was like, hey, hey, hey. You
Yeah,
know
that
what
was
type
hot.
of practice that had to take? So
Hmm.
yeah, maybe they could be a little less strict on the combo timing. But some folks who may be watching this might say, "Hey, you know what? Just I mean, hey, it is what it is. It's kind of rough. It's kind of rough, but then again, that's what makes it Street Fighter. So, what do you think, Mike? And then I'll give the floor back to Shinwar.
I don't know. I don't know. I personally think that Street Fighter, Ultra Street Fighter 4 is probably their limit. I mean, as far as them going into another Street Fighter, making a Street Fighter 5,
Hmm.
what would make a player who's playing Street Fighter 4 say, you know what, I'm going to just merge over to Street Fighter 5 because it's awesome? What would, how much more characters can you put in the roster already? You know what I mean? How many
Hmm.
characters are in Street Fighter 4 right now? About, what, 40
40,
something? Or,
yeah, like 45, or yeah,
It's a
it's,
lot.
it's 40 plus. Here's the thing, Mike, you made a good point. And Shinwar, going back to the early point, was you have to evolve the story. Some characters should not be in there. Like Gen should be dead already. You know what I mean? Like
Dang.
that dude got
Rip, Rip,
tuberculosis, survived the Shun Goku
Rip.
Satu, and he's still like, I'm
Yes,
still in Street Fighter. You know what I mean?
I agree.
Hmm.
You
But
know?
I think they're afraid of losing most of their audience because it's like asking them to play a completely different game. Like if you
Right.
were a Kuma player
Yeah.
and they remove the Kuma, like me, if they remove a Kuma and they put in Street Fighter 5, I'm going to wrap it up and I'm not going to go to Street Fighter 5 because I wouldn't want to play with anybody because of my mentality. There's a lot of people out there like that tell me the same thing. There's people like you guys that will play with any character and
Dude,
just
that's
master
fire.
them and you don't care. Huh?
Oh no, go ahead, dude. You were speed talking. It was trying to catch up and sync.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
you
Okay.
know what? NYC Playboy. Yeah, he said Shinwar, Lord, because of your outfit.
What happened? Oh,
Yeah, I'm looking at the chat thing now. It's like, hey, NYC Playboy, that's Black Man 2, the sequel. So,
Mhm.
what?
but yeah, Mike, you make a good point. I think Capcom doesn't want to risk losing a group, so to speak, because we already know Akuma is old.
Yeah,
He is up there.
he's a
You know what I mean?
million.
So even in Third Strike, they showed like a gray streak in his
Mm-hmm.
hair. Like he's aged. If Goken comes back, oh my God, he's gonna be in a wheelchair. You know what I mean?
You know what? Now, I'm gonna say this right now. They should have never brought Goken back
But they
in
never said he
four.
was dead though.
We all knew he should have stayed down. It'd be messed up if they brought Charlie back. I probably would stop playing if they
No,
brought
if
Charlie back.
if if, if Charlie,
What you
yeah,
see what he's saying is serious.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
well,
listen. Let's be real. We all know when we played Street Fighter 2, the illustrious master of Ken and Ryu, the whole myth. I loved it. Didn't need to know what this guy looked like. I just knew a name.
Right.
Listen, we love Ken and Ryu. Then they brought him back. I'm like, who is this guy? I
but they never said. All right, look, they
don't.
never had a body. They never confirmed that Goken was dead. So they just left it up to interpretation at that
And
point.
what happened? They came up with a corny story. Oh, he emptied it. Okay, I understand storyline wise, great. But you're doing it just to bring him back? Should have left him dead.
You should have left him dead.
But
Should have
if you
left him
think
dead.
about it, though, it was genius to bring him back because even though he's a Shoto character, he's a reverse Shoto. Think about it. His Hurricane Kick is actually the
Mm-hmm.
anti-air. The Senku Goshoha is actually the Hurricane Kick style. And then the fact that maybe touching on the scrolls from Assassin's Fist, he learned how to
Mm-hmm.
channel chi through single hands and throwing them in different directions and such.
Holla.
You know what? You know what I would have loved storyline wise, and don't laugh.
Hmm.
Where even though we know when Street Fighter 3 New Generation came out, when they had Alex as the main character and Sean, and initially Ken and Ryu wasn't in it,
Hmm.
the backlash was crazy.
Yeah.
People was like, yo, we want Ken and Ryu. That's fine, but I think for Street Fighter 5, have Ken finally train Sean and Ryu finally trained Sakura as their successors, and now you got Sakura and Sean, the new
Right.
Ken and Ryu.
Right.
I'm just saying,
That
Or
come
makes
make
sense.
get
or make Ryu and Ken like boss characters or something, or like
yeah, exactly. So they reached that level of Goken now,
Right.
where they can
Right.
say, we can fall back. But knowing Ryu, he's gonna keep fighting. That's
yeah.
That's the
neither here nor
poster
there.
boy, and I don't like that. So now it's going commercial. They're messing up the story because of a poster boy.
Well,
Right.
It's
yeah.
my opinion.
All right. Well, you know what? One second. Ghost Missile it joined our chat, just saying what's up to him. Thank you
Joe.
for joining us. All right. But yeah, you know, Street Fighter is the house that Ken and Ryu built. To take them out would kind of defeat the purpose of many people playing Street Fighter.
And this is
So
prop wise.
I think that it's just something where you can keep them in it, but age them, and just change things. Like with Terry Bogard in Mark of the Wolves, his techniques changed.
Yep. Yep.
So allow that to happen for Ryu and Ken. You know what I mean?
You
Now,
see,
go ahead.
no, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Are
yeah. Go
you
ahead,
finished
Mike.
saying?
Yeah, I'm done. Go ahead, Mike.
I just wanted to say what they did in Ultra, how they added these new characters, the new
Hmm.
characters in Ultra. I'm thinking they should have done exactly what you guys just said in Ultra, introduced the new characters into their successor. So you'll still be playing Ultra, you'll still be able to play with the characters, and then Capcom can get an idea of how the audience feels with these new characters and see what their
Hmm.
input are. Because they, if you like you guys follow the storyline, they'll be able to say, okay, this is what happened, and now
Right.
secure is this, and when you just and they have their success, and then you see how it goes in Ultra, and then you just leak rumors out that now they're going to merge from Street Fighter Five to the new generation of new fighters. Because I mean, how long are you play with Zangief? You know what I mean? I don't want to diss the Zangief players, but make a new type of Zangief that's younger. Like Zangief had a son, so even if the guys are stick around, oh
Wait
yeah,
a minute. Wait a minute.
Little Keith.
The,
Little
the,
little
Keith.
you,
Keef.
you know what, Mike? There's a reason
Yeah.
why that might not be possible because
And,
according to the canon, he is not into women.
well,
Oh my
No,
yeah,
God.
I'm
but
dead serious. I'm dead
but hold on,
serious.
hold on. No, going back to what Mike said. Mike, they did that with Third Strike.
And what happened?
Hugo at that time, Hugo was the new Zangief. You had all these characters like Remy was the new Guile,
Hmm.
Necro was the new Dhalsim, and the backlash was crazy.
Oh,
But
Mm.
it
that's the
was
thing.
but it was all new characters. It was great. It was like, okay, I gotta learn this. And then how long was it from Third Strike to Street Fighter 4? 10 years? Was it 10?
Yeah, long time.
A long time. We waited for a new game, and they brought back all the old characters.
Hmm.
So
Maybe I don't know. Maybe Capcom was
little
losing
Keith.
their passion for it, but you know,
And give me new moves. I want new moves.
Yeah, some new move. I think they're trying to do that in Omega.
Right.
They're trying to. I
Hmm.
think they're telling us it's for fun. We're just trying something out. I think they're trying to get a feeling of how the audience feels with these moves. And if the
Yep.
audience is like, we love it, they're gonna look at the forums. They're gonna look at everything. They're gonna look at videos, everything, and they're gonna say these people love it. Or of course, the audience backlash is gonna destroy you. So I think they're
Right.
feeling out. That's why they're saying, yeah, is it a free? It's a free update? Am I right?
Yes,
yeah,
sir.
yeah.
Yeah, so
Mm.
they don't want you, they don't want to charge you in case you don't like it, you ain't pay for it. You know what I mean?
Right.
I think that's what they're doing.
So it's all
Interesting.
a test. All a big test.
I think it's because look at the moves. You see have you seen the videos that's been uploaded of the
Yeah.
gameplay? It's different. You can
Yeah.
do mad different moves that you can't do in Ultra. So I want to see, I want to know. But the thing about it is, when they come out with Omega, how am I gonna know what moves can do what? How do I know Akuma can jump in the air and throw a fireball and then Tatsu out, out of it? How do I know
Hmm.
that's possible? Do I just do it and just discover it?
You know what I think, Mike? Event hubs is going to be a big thing. Game facts. A lot of that, and of course IGN, Maximilian. A lot of those guys are going to put all those patch notes and
Yeah,
changes. So yeah, you won't be completely in the dark. So we can
Hmm.
work it that way. So I mean, if Omega mode is to test where things are going, that's going to be interesting. That's going to
that's
be
my
very,
prediction.
very, very
That's my
interesting.
prediction.
But here's a question for you guys: should Street Fighter 5 be zany and crazy, or should it be like footsie based like it is now?
That's a very good question because you're gonna have different sides beefing with you. You'll have the Marvel guys saying they want it zany and crazy. You'll have
Right.
the guys like me saying I want it footsies because you have a fighting chance in their world.
Right.
It has their own opinion. It's gonna be I don't know. That's a very good question.
You
That's a
know
mom.
what? I would say if they go for a balance between the two, like CVS 2. Honestly, CVS 2 was single handedly to me the best produced fighting game of all time. It
Capcom Fighting Jam? What?
I said Capcom versus SNK 2.
Oh.
That
Okay.
one because it showed that so many systems can exist in one game but still be balanced. You
Mm.
know what I mean? Some can do some chain combos, some can do this, and you know what I mean. There's a way that they can add a little more flexibility with combo play, but still retain what makes it Street Fighter. So that's what I got to say on it.
It's good.
So I mean, even like if you think about it, you got Alpha 3. I think Alpha 3 was a very solid game.
Alpha
It,
3 was good.
and Shinwar was talking about bringing back Alpha counters. You got a lot of people who turtle. They need to bring back Guard Crush because all
Yeah.
that guile stuff and sitting there like, it's fight, man. Like, come on, all that turtling bullshit. I'm not down with that. You know what I mean? It's just, I mean, I'm glad they had some sort of armor break in Street Fighter 4, but
Hmm.
if you have moves that have armor break properties, they need to have a meter where if somebody's sitting there like turtling all day, they gotta bring them out of that hole. They gotta fight. It's a
I
fighting
agree.
game, not Call of Duty camping and sitting
Right.
there. You know what I mean? Like
Just
that's just my thought
what
process.
I think the balance. I mean, you know what it is. I think the more characters, the more stuff they put in there, is the balance is just going to be jacked up. I think the developers at Capcom who sit down
Oh
because
snap!
they have people who write the stories.
All right, guys, hold on 1 second. I think there's technical difficulty. I think NYC Playboy said he can't see Mike, but Shinwar, you can see Mike, right?
Yeah, I can see Mike.
All
Hmm.
right.
It's probably on my end. So, to the audience, I do apologize if you're not seeing what we're seeing because it's looking clear on our end, but if it's buffering on the Twitch. I'll do some QAQC, making sure going forward that everything is straight. So apologies to you guys. We're not ignoring anyone here or so. So we're gonna do the best we can, and and as we bring everything to a close, but without completely jumping over the storyline thing, like give from the both of you, what's one major difference, or matter of fact, what's one thing from another fighting game that would do well in a Street Fighter universe, so to speak? Like for me, I would be like, hey, I wouldn't mind a combo breaker. You know what I mean? There's just some stuff you be sitting there like getting beat up and whatnot. Like a combo breaker would be cool. That would be one thing I would wish for. Sure. What would you like to see?
Air combos or juggles? More extensive juggles or air combos? We gotta make Street Fighter a little bit more loose. I know they tried to attempt it with Ryu doing a jumping medium cancel into a hurricane kick, but let me do like a good three, four, five hits in the air. Nothing crazy. Let me do a juggle. Across the screen. Nothing crazy, but I think it's something to play around with.
All right, that's cool. Mike, what would you like to see a system direction that's from another franchise, that you can see working in the Street Fighter universe?
I don't know. I was while you guys were talking, I was trying to think of something. It's nothing that I would like to see from another game in Street Fighter because it'll just throw off the entire balance. Like let's say you could have juggled in Tekken. Imagine someone who practices to juggle. Now your whole game is being juggled. You don't even have a fighting chance.
Hmm.
Yeah, but but you know what? Nothing extraneous. Like Tekken, you could do like 10 hits and their whole life is gone. But
That's it. Yeah.
but in Street Fighter, I'm thinking like three, 4 hits. Nothing crazy, but just something to keep the flow going, the pace. I just think the pace needs to be and like Alex said, a combo breaker or whatever.
Hmm.
So I don't know. I don't know.
Okay, interesting stuff. Interesting stuff. So, as we bring this to a close, again, I want to apologize to our viewers that were having the difficulties. Shout out to NYC Playboy, Ghost Missile, who are actively in the chat. So, maybe it's my Xbox One that might have been lagging everything because of splitting the connection. But I just got Files Quantum, so I'm trying to figure out what's happening here. But yeah, I think there was something, what, Marvel versus DC, because on my screen it's kind of far away from where I'm at now. But we'll probably pick that up for tomorrow's official podcast. But I do want to thank you, Mike, for joining us.
Yes.
Yeah, Mike.
Yes, sir.
It was an honor. And Shinwar, thank you on last minute notice coming in as Blank Man. Unbelievable. But
Awesome.
again, make sure you rate, comment, subscribe, check us out. And again, we're working through some of the tech difficulties with the connection. So I've been able to host podcasts before with no problem. So I'll do some investigating. So with that, we're going to sign off. Thank you for joining us. And once a week, I would like to, make this like a regular thing until Street Fighter Five comes out. Maybe what if Nelson's available, Noob, just rotate who we have in here. And of course, Mike, you're always welcome to join us. All
Thank you,
right.
sir.
And with that, we bring this to a close. Thank you guys so much for your time and attention. And we'll see you next time on the New Gaming Order podcast.
Peace.
Peace, peace.